59.
All right.
That's all I have,
We'll bring-
too.
That's what I got too, but we'll bring the November 26th, 2019 Budget Committee meeting to order. And how about if we stand up and have pledge of allegiance?
These chairs.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just a brief comment. Our recording secretary will be using the video to take the transcribe our minutes. She's been out sick in the hospital over the weekend, so she is staying home so she doesn't often pass around the stomach virus she has. So I told her not to take it personally, but please stay away.
Very great.
So
Wishing her a quick recovery.
yes. So if we can try to be a little more circumspect about the side conversations we tend to have and staying on track, I'd appreciate it, and she would too. Okay, roll call of members starting from my left with Mr. Brown.
Here, Larry Brown.
Tammy Smith.
Peg Heard.
Dennis Woods.
Bob Carrier. Humphrey Williams.
Andy Ross and Selectmen's Rep.
And Thomas McDougal, Chairman. It looks like we have a quorum. Okay, I guess we'll start out with the discussion of the school teacher contract and see if we can talk a little bit maybe about where they're at with the budget. So Peg, you want to
Okay.
kick us off?
I certainly do. All right, I did send out the quote-unquote talking points ahead of time so that you had time to actually read through. If you look at the justification, and then you go down and you look at the our salary schedule compared to area districts, we need to have a more competitive salary for our teachers. We've already lost some really, really good teachers because of no increase this year. And there are also about 23 teachers in the district who will probably be retiring in the next 5 years. And so we need to have a competitive salary in order to bring good people back in. So I'm not going to go through all of that, but our salary schedule goes from $33,357 to $55,465. The average New Hampshire teacher salary is $58,301, and the average Milton is $48,846. Now, if you jump down to the red, I'm going to let you look if you have not looked at any of those other numbers. The total request for the first year is a negative $120,438.58 with an estimated tax impact of a negative 34 cents per thousand. That negative amount is due to attrition. Teachers on the top with longevity retired, left the district, and they were replaced with teachers much lower on the salary schedule. Because their contract did not pass this past year, they had no step movement, no money increase. So they've actually been losing money due to their insurance increase, an average about $16 per paycheck or $416 over the year. So after I'm going to say very, very nice negotiating session this year, we agreed upon a 2% increase plus step movement at the beginning of the year, and to try to get them where they should be, a step halfway through the year, or we call it week 14. It would be actually pay period 14. Longevity does not go into effect until step 15 without step movement. So the big thing about giving them and continuing them on the steps is that they actually would be losing money because they'd be missing a step. They would never quite get to that step 14.
Can I ask a question
Yes.
while we're going along here?
Yes.
You said something to the effect that to get them where they should be.
Right.
Can you define what that is?
Teachers' contracts, they're on a step plan.
Mhm.
So my first year teaching, I would come into a district on step 1. And every year that I'm teaching and I'm still doing a satisfactory job and they haven't fired me, I should go up to the next step. And in the last round of contract negotiations, what we did was you have to be in the district for 15 years And, like the next year, step 14, which is our top step, and then you get a longevity check, because they don't get to move anymore, so it's kind of you've been in the district for a long time, we appreciate what you've been doing, and since you don't move a step, here's something for you. Okay, does that answer what your question was? Okay.
If I make one quick question.
Yes.
Oh, you said, where to go, you said that there will 2% increase by step movement at the beginning of the year. Is that calendar year or the school fiscal
School year.
So
So it
it'll
started
go into effect in
September.
July 1st?
No, September, because
Okay.
that's when their contract runs from, was it July 1st to,
June 30th.
June 30th?
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
so not until the summer, but
Okay.
So you're speaking 9/20, not retroactive to 9/19.
right, no, will not be retroactive, so what they're getting right now, they'll
Yeah.
continue to get.
Yeah, but it would go into effect next year.
Right,
Okay.
right,
All right. Okay, I just wanted to know.
yep. no
And so
problem.
week 14 is the 14th week after that,
Well, it's not,
sort of?
it should not be week 14, it's pay period,
Okay,
because they
pay
get pay
period,
period, they get
2
paid
weeks,
every 2
okay,
weeks, so.
half the year.
Call it,
So,
Yep.
call it
6
pay
months.
week 14.
Pay week 14, there you go.
Okay. That's
Hey,
it for me.
Week
Anybody else got-
14, okay. So then it was just kind of the numbers, negative 1358 in New Hampshire retirement costs, negative 5,347 FICA, $73,300 decrease in health insurance just based on plan changes and with new hires. So if we had somebody who had a family plan and we hired somebody who either took the buyout or a single plan, obviously we saved an awful lot of money. So the total increase for the teachers, it'll be a 2% increase for the 54 teachers. Step movement on the salary schedule, there will be 32 teachers who will be moving both of those steps. So over the year, it's an average of a 6% increase. 22 teachers do not move because they're on step 14 at the top, so they'll be getting the 2% increase. And then we have 2 teachers who are actually moving laterally, so depending on their education, they move laterally or sideways. So if somebody had a bachelor's plus 15 and got a master's, they would move sideways to a different column, I don't even what's it called, Marion? Track, thank you. A different education track. And then the next one would be master's plus 15. So we've got a couple people that really hustled butt this year. So they actually get an average of a 10% increase. And the salaries, salary schedule brings it up to $34,024 to $56,574. So we're getting there slowly. Health insurance. They changed from what is called a Cadillac plan to a consumer-driven plan while retaining the caps on the district's contribution. So we have had a cap on all of their health insurance for I don't know how many years now, ever since I came on the board. So if they have a single plan, we will say 10% with a $10,000 cap. So whatever the insurance is, that's as much as we will pay. 2-person, $16,000 cap, and a family plan, $21,500. If you look at this pretty colored sheet, the 2 different plans, you'll see them color-coded. Green is the Cadillac plan, and the single annual cost, $12,798. With the cap, we'd only pay $10,000. They actually did come in asking to remove the cap. They finally agreed to stay with the cap, but they also went with the consumer-driven plan, or what is called the yellow plan. So they're actually saving some money in their premiums. But if you kind of look, if we'd gotten rid of the cap and stayed with a Cadillac plan, it would cost us we save with with the cap, 31,000 for single, 58,000 for two-person, and 43,000 for family, or a grand total of 133,000. So it really was in the district's best interest to maintain the cap, and the teachers went along with it. We did show them savings from the premium and what they're actually getting from the consumer-driven plan, so that their premiums are also going down. So are there any questions on that? I mean, that was just kind of so that people know that the caps really work for the district.
Question.
Yes.
So you have what I would call, rather than pick on some people say that the new Lincoln is ahead of the Cadillac. So you have a full coverage plan.
Yes.
And you have a choice-based plan, and you have a buyout.
Yes.
The buyout went up from 3 to 4.
Yes.
So if 5 people take a buyout,
Yes.
that's $20,000.
Yes.
What does, so one argument is they're getting $1,000 for free for something you don't need to begin with. What does the district get for that $4,000? How much have they saved?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you look back at the total request, what we ended up doing, the negative 120 for this year, that included anybody who's currently getting the buyout, going from the 3,000 to the 4,000. So that's already included in that figure.
So a bottom of page 1, single plan contribution, 10,000 capped.
Right,
Two-person, 16,000 capped.
right.
Do you save the difference between 4,000 and 16 in theory?
Yep,
Nice.
yep,
Nice.
yep. Oh, yeah. I mean, like an $8,000 difference, huh? If I did my math correctly. I know you do thousands
Right,
and
yeah,
hundreds, but.
I'm healthy, sign me up.
It always pays for the school district to get the buyouts because they're just a percentage of what the insurance is, if you would pay for that.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
so even though it went up 1,000, which is a added cost to the district to pay
Right.
the 4,000, you're still pulling in 8 on the other end.
Right. Yeah, if you have a single plan, it's gonna cost us, or it's double plan, 2-people plan. Oh wait, that's what it's called, a 2-person plan. We would normally pay 16,000. But you get insurance from your better half, or your worse half, or the other half. And so the district actually saves 8,000. Okay?
Thank you.
Now, hey, Peg, just before you go,
yes.
I see you get the numbers of people per plan. Do you know how many have taken the buyout? Just out of curiosity?
14 sticks in my mind. Does that sound about right, Marion?
I think so.
Yeah, about 14 people.
So that's a pretty good chunk of change at $12,000 roughly if they're in a family plan. So-
Yep, yep.
Mr. Chief?
One thing I want to say to the board is that I want you to know I'm extremely excited about this. In the negotiations, I may not be showing it physically, but this is a win-win for both of us. Now, what I want you people to realize, and you may not realize, over this 3-year period, if you go for 3 years, it's only going to be 41 cents per thousand on your tax rate. So that's going to be for a 3-year contract, which I think is pretty good, taking consideration the 120 down. Added to the 33, it's about 41,000. If you're interested in what some of your total costs would be for houses over that 3 period, I have figures for all the way from a $200,000 evaluation up to a $500,000 evaluation property. in the town of
He
Milton.
didn't do mine for $1.5 million house, though.
I didn't go that high.
No, darn.
Okay, so,
Okay, so the other thing that we did, we offered dependent care which is basically a flexible spending account that they put money into. They already had a health savings account. But, a lot of teachers, young teachers have daycare, and it costs an awful lot of money, so.
Question.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
What are the school's administrative costs for dependent care?
What was it? 35 cents a person. It wasn't all that much an account, a person.
Oh.
So, yeah, it was not much at all.
You buy Starbucks coffee, you pay for it.
More than that. Couple of cups.
Mr. Shute?
The other thing I'd like to have you go in your minutes, but you don't realize that you don't have a percentage. Within the next 5 years, you have the possibility of losing 40% of your teachers. It's 40%. That's over a third. So we're going to have to replace these people and retain them. And so you just want to put in your minutes.
All right, and then we added a couple of extra / co-curricular stipends, again, to help the children. Voice of Democracy was already being done. It was a position that somebody was doing, and based on other similar positions, $600 would be the stipend. Increased the after-school program, which at the elementary school is absolutely phenomenal. I don't even know how to describe it. But the positions from $20 an hour to $25, and there's an average of 6 to 10 positions per program, the after-school and the summer school. The after-school program coordinator there's only one person, went from $25 to $30 an hour. And the lead summer school coordinator from $25 to $30 an hour. Under professional development, we did agree to 5 early release days where the teachers could have professional development time, i.e. workshops, with the caveat that we have a whole bunch of snow days, that we obviously need to be educating the students, so we have so many hours by the state that we have to have students in the classroom learning, that we will reduce the workshops. So that was good. New language. I know there's been an awful lot of discussion, but anyway, they agreed to, the district has gone with performance plan by Charlotte Danielson. I was very familiar with it in Rochester because we used it and was instrumental in pulling together all of the criteria. There are 4 or 5 what they call domains. So if somebody is not working up to par, then they will go on an improvement plan. And if they are on an improvement plan, they will not move a step. So if I happen to be on an improvement plan and everybody else got a step, I did not, it would be pretty good incentive for me to clean my act up and get off that improvement plan. So it's not fair that everybody else doesn't get a step, or that I'm kind of subpar, and I'm getting a step along with everybody else who's really performing. So anyway, so that is all of the language that will continue in all 3 years. The second year.
Just before you move on.
Yes.
Good. All right. The extra, the co-curricular stipends
Yes.
and all that, do those those changes all occur, all come under the 2021 negative 34 cents? Or is, the way you've got this written down, it looks like that all falls into the minus $120,000, or does that get added after the fact?
That gets added after the fact, or I think all of the stipends, right? Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause
Well,
we have a
I'm
whole-
asking because it looks like it's part of, even though that you've
Right.
added it, it would have been part of the $120,000
Yeah.
reduction. So,
Any of the stipend positions,
yeah, it's gonna be.
coaches and whatever, it's always in addition, and sometimes we don't fill those particular positions, so,
Mr. Brown?
If there's no contract now, and this is a contract forward-looking, then these positions will only fall into place in September
Right.
of 20 and over the summer of 20.
right.
And the side thought, one of the things that Betsy has been able to do for the library in hiring pages, whom she knows from middle school and in high school, is that she knows the territory, and they're a proven quantity. Same thing, the staff, on staff, gets priority
Yes.
for these, and they already know the landscape, and they've been chosen because they have done it well.
Yeah,
Okay?
and both the after-school and the
It's-
summer
it's-
program, yes.
It's not an unearned bone.
No,
No, okay.
No, no.
I just.
no, and I mean, people really need to look at us, I want to say, especially the after-school program. What was it, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we actually added another session because it was so popular
Yeah.
that, I mean, kids were just signing up and coming out of the woodwork, and we agreed to another whole session, so.
Mr.
The
Chair?
other thing, by going with this contract already holds also future savings, not within the teacher's contract, but in the rest of the school, because we'll make changes in what we're gonna implement administratively. You'll be receiving more savings there. Because if we change the medical plan across the board, going from green to yellow, we're gonna save money.
The Cadillac to the consumer-driven, or the Lincoln. Okay, in 2021, 2022, total request is $147,675.92 with an estimated tax impact of 42 cents per thousand. And that would be another 2% increase and step for those who are still moving up the steps, plus $29,912.09 in uncontrollable costs.
Define that.
FICA?
Oh,
Okay,
Retirement
that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, the we have,
That's all.
you know, yeah. Sorry, you don't know what an uncontrollable cost is.
I most certainly do, but it doesn't say what it is there, it just says. it
Oh,
has a
okay,
number.
well, if you go back
That's
to the
all.
first page, these are all
Mr. Brown.
uncontrollable.
federal, state, salary-based mandates.
Yep. Yep, which we have no control over, and it used to be that the New Hampshire retirement was a lot lower percentage for towns, and the state just said, oh no, towns and cities, you have to pay more. And believe me, being on New Hampshire state retirement ain't a lot. That brings the salary schedule up to $34,705, up to $57,705. We're inching up. 2022, 2023, $116,100 with a tax impact of 33 cents per thousand, 2% increase and step movement, and $23,549 in uncontrollable expenses such as FICA, Social Security, and New Hampshire retirement.
Federal, state.
I'm looking beyond you.
Federal, state,
Federal and state stuff.
salary-based mandates.
So if you flip back to the first page, and I have to tell you, when I was looking up some of the, and I got a request to please cross off that very bottom one. I will take it out of the final one. But when I was looking for towns, surrounding towns, and I happened to go through Exeter, if I were still teaching, I'd be making like almost $100,000 teaching in Exeter.
And you have a lot more things.
Well, you're not really comparing apples to oranges.
No, I know, but I mean, I'm just,
Right, I
out
just
of
want-
total curiosity, I'm looking at it going, oh,
Throw that
I
out
was in the
there.
wrong place,
Yeah.
at the wrong time. So,
Now, if I might, the total request for, say, the increase for 2021, 2022, that's assuming all the teachers stay where they're at now and they just increase a step, correct? That isn't if you have 5 more teachers decide to get their master's degree this next year and jump a track, that would increase that. Similarly, if you had experienced teachers retire or leave and you replace them with less experienced teachers, that number may decrease.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's what, based on where we are right now.
Right now, if
The
everything
number of
stays the
teachers,
same,
yep,
just the stuff.
where
Okay.
everybody is, but,
I know it's kind of a moving target.
yeah, and we do know that one teacher is retiring at the end of this year, so that'll bring down the next year, but, we can't,
It might bring down next year. You might end up hiring an
Yeah.
experienced teacher in it.
yeah.
So, okay. Mr. Brown.
I have been following the school district longer than most. And there, I just wrote down 3 names. Ann Kelber, Melissa Jean, and Bob Qua. And what you are seeing, if I am right, and three chances to get me wrong, that with Bob Qua becoming Melissa Jean, who became Ann Kelber.
Kevlar.
I'm sorry, not Kelber, Kevler.
Right.
Yeah.
She's not the cookie lady.
What are we seeing low-end salaries that are going to replace the high-end salaries and work through the entire 3 years? Is that a fair reading of what's happening? If Bob Qua is an example.
Well, let's put it this way. The first one you mentioned,
And she was a different.
Yeah.
She was working 2 districts.
and she was making more and, whatever, but,
than
yeah.
God.
But there was also in that, Melissa Jean was the person in Milton district. There was also an individual in the Wakefield district.
Ann was.
And when we became an autonomous SAU, we no longer had that position at all. It was taken up by Melissa Jean, and now it's Rob Quad. And he's assisted by myself in the building administration. So we actually, Larry Brown brings up a good point. There's been an incredible amount of money in the last 3 years, not only the 120C, but some that was exhausted because as people retire, we restructured, which all of you do within your own businesses. And we'll continue to do that where that occurs, and that pertains to everybody, even me. So there are some plans over the course of time to do that kind of thing that will outlive me.
So, are there any other questions? 'Cause one of the reasons that we decided that we really wanted to bring this to the budget committee tonight is we wanted questions answered, discussion, but we really would like the budget committee behind this 100% when we go to the voters, because they deserve a raise, they deserve money. Other people in town, they seem to get their raises. And we would like to see the teachers get their raises too.
Yes, sir. Mr.
I just, I know you had this every time we come in like this, but for, I calculated some figures for a $300,000 home, just assessed over the 3-year period total, you're only gonna have to pay $123. Totally, toward the end. In your 3rd year, you'll only pay $123,000.
How about
123?
$123?
Boy, that just got real.
Yeah, you're not helping your case, Dr. Manchester.
Okay, no, if anybody's got a $500,000 home, I don't know if that's true or not now. But
We
you're only
don't, we
gonna
don't live in Peg's neighborhood.
pay-
Yeah, right, my $1.5 million.
That's only $205 at the third year total, for this if you pass this.
Yeah.
And we came to you, asked for your input. That's why we're here, that's why Mary's here, so Peg's here, that's why we're here. And I'm,
I have to be here, but,
well, it's different.
oh, wait a minute, I have this hat on, okay.
Yes, yes.
Mary Ann, did you want to
Mr.
add
Sussman?
anything?
That's what I was
Yeah,
gonna say, Mary Ann.
If there's any questions about anything. I know I've taught in this district for 33 years, and I enjoy teaching here.
Uh,
And I'd like to end my career eventually when I decide to retire.
So,
here.
what was the general teacher's feeling about the contract?
The general,
Mary Ann?
our union membership voted unanimously to support this contract.
So did the board.
Yes. It was a very pleasant, I mean, this is what our second time, well, third time around if we counted last year. And it was very, very pleasant. It was,
Mr. Sussman?
Two things. What actually has occurred the last year is that not only have they not received a raise, as was explained, the health insurance, they paid more for their health insurance as well because the cap was not there. So they not only didn't have a raise, but they actually lost money.
$416 a year on the average.
It's right there.
It's right in here.
And with that, I just wrote a note to Mary Ann. You had brought up the point of like where exactly are these steps? So what, based upon your input and everything, one of the things that I think we could point out without saying who they are, who the person is, take who's left the last 2 years to go to another district and point out what that person was making here versus what they're going to get there. I know I have one call from the school superintendent who I knew, and somebody was in front of him who was in year 2, right? Is that
Yes,
true, Mary?
me too.
Year 2 and applying for position. In that district, I didn't think was Salem, one of the higher rent areas, the Salem, the Exeters. And apparently, after he left his office, he talked to me and, they had a nice conversation. He says, "Do you know me?" He said, because the school superintendent knew me well. He said, "Yeah, he's been in my classes and everything." He told me that I believe it was at least $8,000 more that this young person was going to get by going there. So we're trying to attract people that are just beginning because they're replacing somebody who has left. So we're getting them on step 1, and then the staff of the administration work with them. They have success. Well, as far as the students, they're trying to help bring things up, the scores up. And then they can go somewhere else for $8,000 a year. So the money for professional development, for training, is for naught. So we're investing in our students, we're investing in our staff, but yet we can't retain them because if somebody can make $8,000 more on step 2 or 3, how are you ever going to compete with that? It's not really fair to our students.
But you can't. I mean, you can't to the level that you'd love to. You just can't do it because none of us can afford it. If we did it,
And
carte blanche and tried to handle all retention issues with money, none of us could afford it.
And by the way, that's not just the school.
Right, oh, yeah, it's, it
You got the chief of the
happens.
fire department behind you, he'll tell you it's the same thing there, it's the same thing in the police department, unfortunately, in a small community.
And the
You're
thing
gonna have,
is-
you're gonna have restrictions as to how much you can dole out, you know?
Mary Ann?
The thing is that, the young people coming out have so much college debt too, that, you know, they're trying to pay back their college loans on top of the salaries that they're making, whether it's fire, police, teachers. And, you know, and when they can get a little bit of experience, then they do move on because they have that heavy college debt. And if, you know, they're not able to make it or have an increase, then it's eating into, and, you know, and some of them are taking second, sometimes third jobs to just, to cover the college debt along with their teaching salary. So,
And we are making progress in our scores. Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna go there right now.
That's
I
not-
know, I heard the report that they made some, but there's still a long ways to go.
This is a
Yeah,
step.
no, I know, I'm not picking on anyone, I'm just saying, but there's a long ways to
Well,
go right
that-
now with
That
those
really
scores.
doesn't pertain
No, it
here
doesn't
anyway.
pertain to
No.
this, that's a separate thing.
Mr. Brown?
Once upon a time, I was a special ed teacher. I did a lousy job. I got out, and kids are better off.
You were on one of those improvement plans?
You didn't get a step.
You didn't get a step, yeah.
That is exactly where I was going. You either have to have a good lesson plan, or you have to have passion. And I lacked both. But my wife was on the school board in the great metropolis of New Paltz, New York. My daughter is presently the chair of the school board, so it's in the genes. But what bothers me is back when my daughter was in high school, there was a teacher absolutely known to everyone to be a failure, to the point where the high school social studies teacher, they split it in 2 semesters. She kept double notes so she could teach the first semester together with hers so the kids would not lose. And most of them got out alive okay. But what was surprising here, and this is absolutely for the morale of the teachers, so that somebody who is floundering, either because they're a slacker, or they haven't figured out what they're doing, got an improvement plan.
Yeah.
And that tells the other teachers that you either give more of what you're doing, you get the training, or you get out. And I will buy the contract for that.
No, that's critical, and that's the same in any place, that if you don't show that you reward performance and you go after those that don't perform with putting them on an improvement plan, I mean, that's huge to turn around and get that agreement.
Mr. Sussman?
I think that they bring up a good point, because where his wife was on the school board and his daughter was in the school board in that particular state, you get a step regardless of whatever.
For not dying.
So if there's no
Yeah.
contract,
Yeah.
there's a, but also, there's no such thing as holding a person back. So you can be on an improvement plan, and a lot of them use the same one as us, that's used throughout the nation to a great degree. Most schools use that. They get a step as well. So even if there's no contract and their performance is not good, they still get a step. So I think that I think the staff should be commended for accepting that, because that's not a usual thing that most, I don't want to negotiate out at school.
Yeah, no, I wanna just
But I
jump
think
on
that
yours.
says a lot for them.
Peg?
Yeah, there used to be, and I think it was a state thing too, called an evergreen clause, so that if teachers did not get a contract, they still moved on the steps. The state got rid of it, but if teachers had put it in their contracts, then they could maintain it, so, but they do not have an evergreen clause in the contract, so.
Called a tribe.
Well, in New Hampshire, it was called an evergreen
Yeah.
clause that
Okay.
allowed
All right.
everything. Any other questions?
questions
I mean,
about
I
this?
just want to make sure that everybody,
Yeah, Mr. Brown.
I'm sorry. My misspent youth. What is a Charlotte
oh, Charlotte Danielson.
Do I take it that it is a
It is,
competency proficiency
it
measurement?
is an absolutely incredible performance-based, teacher-based, performance-based evaluation tool, actually. As I said, when I was in Rochester, I was on the committee that looked at it, put it together, pulled everything apart. We, did a couple of iterations, but it looks at just about every single facet of teaching. Your lesson plans, your community involvement, your parental involvement, your classroom management. I mean, just anything you could possibly think of that a teacher should be doing in the classroom and outside the classroom is covered in it. So I can't say enough about it. It's a lot of work for administration. I do have to say that because of all the
Performance-
steps that they have to go through.
Improving performance is very difficult
Yeah.
on those above you.
It's
Yeah.
one of the toughest things you'll do.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so anyway, anything else, or if
Mr.
not,
Sussman,
then
you
I
got-
will say, Mary Ann, do you have anything you want to add at
I was
the
gonna-
end?
Huh?
No, I mean,
Give her a
you know,
chance.
I know it's always, you hear comments about, well, we try to save teachers. We don't want bad teachers, or we don't want underperforming teachers either. It hurts our profession. So, and I know part of that agreement of the improvement plan came through our staff development or professional growth plan. And then that language got put in there just because we do have the improvement plan and that stuff, because we want to help these teachers improve too, so that the performance goes up and they become better teachers. So, working together, we'll have better schools if we continue to do this. So, I mean, we are also, wanting to help our profession grow and help keep and retain teachers and not lose them. So, but on the other hand, you don't want teachers who are not doing their job. It just hurts us.
And by the way, I fully understand, I was a superintendent of training at the shipyard. So, I
Okay.
do understand, you need the trainers and instructors to do their job.
Anything else on, any other questions?
I think one of the things that the staff was looking for too was your recommendation in terms of, did you want them, not want them, but do you recommend a 2-year or a 3rd year, a 3-year? What do you folks think would be the maximum opportunity, because
I understand the question.
Okay, what you have is, our figures for a 3-year contract. Both sides would prefer a 3-year contract. However, both sides are willing to go with a 2-year contract because the net result, and Doug, you have the figures, the net result is a negative, where that 3rd year is going to add a tax, like a true tax increase. But they would prefer a 3-year contract.
The toughest thing, a 2-year may be easier to sell to the public.
Well, that
Because
was,
we're not the ones voting, we're just part of the voters,
Well, we think you're important, that's why.
Yeah.
No, I understand that. My
Yeah.
point though is it may be easier, I really believe it would be easier to show. If you're showing a negative, a reduction on one and then a slight increase on the other, if it's going to be because if it's going to be just up to 2022, you have a 42-cent increase in 2022 with a 34-cent decrease this year, it's an 8-cent impact, okay? obviously an 8-cent impact is a heck of a lot easier to sell the public than a 40%, you know, a 41 cent
41, yeah.
impact.
I agree.
So, I think the toughest part though is we haven't seen the rest of the budget to know what's the budget change. So, but this, as far as is a vote for the public, and I think a 2-year thing is the public vote would be easier to sell.
Well, I'll be very honest, Humphrey. And I'm not saying this to put anybody down in the audience. However, most people get their yellow sheet or whatever that thing is with all of the money and all of the warrant articles and everything from the town and the school district, and they see all the town, Board of Selectmen, 3-4-0 against. They get to the budget committee. Oh, budget committee, 3-4-6 against. And in their minds, the budget committee kind of looks at the money. They should be able to approve or disapprove. But you know what? I'm thinking to myself, wow, if they did not think this was a good thing, I guess I better vote against it also. And I think that was some of the mentality that went out last year, was people got that yellow sheet. They saw the school board 5-0, budget committee 4-5, 3-6, town selectmen 3-0, budget committee 6, all right, maybe 6-3, then 4-5. I mean, it was just kind of, this committee, the name of the committee, let's put it that way, the name of the committee in the community looks at the money, looks at everything that's presented, and either goes for or not goes for something. So I, not having any clue, get my yellow form, and I'm gonna go into that voting booth with my yellow form going, okay, nope, okay, yep, they voted, yep, nope. I mean, does that make sense to anyone? And you're,
Well,
Miss Lisa?
No, and you're
Lisa?
absolutely right, because I am very guilty of that up until recently, that I never went to any meetings, I never knew anything, and I would come to the town just to vote, and I tell you, I didn't know anything that was going on, and I'd look at that, and the budget committee would be something that I'd be like, well, they're important, they're running the numbers, and they don't think it's good. And I would use that, I agree with you.
thank you, Lisa, because I mean, that's me wanting somebody to vote yes for something, using that as a,
so I'll throw my personal opinion of that.
okay,
That viewpoint is, to me, the system is working. The system is working exactly the way it should.
if the budget committee is going, no,
Yes.
no, no. No, I agree, but I guess what I'm
But the point
saying,
is that you've got people out there that if they don't have any guidance whatsoever, I mean, you know, that's, what's the turnout typically on voting day? Right? So the point being though is not everybody can come and sit in the audience. Not everybody wants to come sit in the audience, right? So they're looking for some kind of guidance.
Right.
And I think that's our job.
right,
So if that happened last year, the system is working the way it's supposed to.
Mr. Shute?
Okay, if you go to your 8 cent on that second year, for a $200,000 home, you're gonna be $16.
Yeah.
For 350, you're gonna be $28. Then your Peg's $500,000 home, you're gonna be paying $40 more.
And if I
my
could, Tom.
little house.
Yeah.
To just, I mean, understand that my recommendation is you're gonna, what's easier to, it's what's the right thing to sell to the public, not the easiest thing to sell to the public too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Lisa was here, the public didn't get to see the meeting that we just had as a budget committee where we slashed an awful lot off of the overall budget so that we wanted to make sure that the budget came in under last year's budget. That's for the town. So, and that's gonna be, that's gonna be a big part of our push going forward, because the public has spoken on a lot of this. So, we're pushing back, so Peg, to answer it, you're right. People are gonna look to see what we're recommending. Look what we just did as a committee, on the overall budget.
Lisa?
So, another thing, and I don't know who would be able to put this on the ballot, but maybe what he keeps saying is that it's gonna be you know, it's gonna impact your taxes on, maybe make it the even numbers that Larry likes, but $100,000, every $100,000, it's gonna be only $8 on your tax bill, because that's something that would mean something more to me than saying, you know, it's gonna raise the tax bill by, you know, cents. Nobody really does the math on that.
Well, it normally says that on the warrant article.
It says
It
it
says the
per,
projection of what your taxes,
Ah,
it normally says that.
it says this, it says like.
Tells how much per thousand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
20 cents per thousand or whatever, yeah.
yeah.
But
I
she's right. A lot of people don't go back and
Aren't
go,
gonna go
geez,
do
how
the math.
much
My
is
house
that
is
gonna
worth
do, you know?
this.
So,
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Brown.
That I am getting over time so tired of revolving door syndrome. And you think of all the congressional seats, you're there for 2 years, you're there for 6 months, and you spend the last 18 months running around already planning for reelection. At the end of 3 years, if this contract passes as is, it is, what did I write down? You go on page one, we are up to $35,399 for starting salary after 3 years. That's still under the lowest starting salary of $36,608 for Farmington. The high salary goes to $58,859, which is 1,000 and heavy change over what Farmington has, and they're the lowest.
it's actually 3,300.
Everything else, all of these districts, and forget about Pittsfield, I think they belong to Canada, so they're out there. All of these districts are going to be moving. So right now, on the figures we have for this year, we are 3 years, we're 3 years behind, and we can lock that in. So, and you don't have to come back with 1 year down and start planning contract negotiations at the end of year 2. You have to tell me more about what what's going to happen in 22, 23 for the tax impact of 33 cents on 1,000, because we don't know what the school budget is going to be, and we haven't even started to talk about what was turn off the microphones. Holy hell! For special ed costs for those incredible percentage switches of one kid coming into the district. So
Okay,
this is a bargain.
but back to the question at hand. What would the budget committee think about a 2-year contract versus 3-year contract? Personally, as Humphrey pointed out, it's really not necessarily, we should recommend what would be best for the town and figure out how to sell that to the town. If you think a 2-year contract's best, or if you think a 3-year contract's in the best interest of the town. I'm leaning towards a 3-year contract, because you know what your expenses are gonna be for the next 3 years. For all we know, you go to negotiate after 2 years, and maybe you've got a much stronger, you know, Peg's decided to get off the contract negotiation table, and we have somebody that's not a strong negotiator, and boom, you've just lifted the cap on the insurance. And now you've just added another $120,000 to this number. So, you know, we really should look at it at not what's easiest to sell to the voters, that's important, but what is in the best interest for the town. And I'm leaning towards the longer contract where we know what the costs are gonna be for the next 3 years, based on where we're at right now.
Yep.
You know, we can't say this was exactly the number in 3 years, because we don't know attrition and all that, but, Mr. Shute.
Take whatever you give me. I'll be happy with it.
What?
I'll take whatever you give me. Personally, I'll be happy with it.
So,
I like your arguments, Tom.
shall we have a, Mr. Brown?
Bravo.
May I step into the line of fire then for a motion? That,
Sure.
Well,
Well,
or,
before we, I'd like to say something here about this whole contract, and I know we're not into the school budget, And, you know, I always play the devil advocate, and then people think I'm the bad guy, but I'm really not the bad guy. I just say things that are realistic and unfortunately have to be said. And, you know, we have to be very careful because, you know, say a quarter of this town is elderly, then a half of this town are blue collar, and then the other quarter is, you know, doing all right. And, you know, last year, the voters, you know, they came and they voted and they spoke. There's probably no question that these teachers do not, you know, they deserve something. But, you know, you got to figure out how you can, you know, sell this, because, I mean, not even looking at the budget, you know where I'm going with this.
Yep.
Not even looking at the budget, if it's above the default, you know it's not going to pass. So, and you know, Doug, as well as I do, you were a selectman in this town. If the school is above the default from last year, none of this is going to pass, unfortunately. So we need to figure out, yes, the teachers deserve a raise to retain good help, but we need to figure out how we're going to do it where the voters are going to pass it. And if it's any above cost to them, above the last year's default, they're not going to do it. So I'm just throwing it out there.
But I can promise you, okay, as a board member, I'm working hard. I can guarantee you, there'll be other savings if this contract passes. Okay? If you stick with that green plan, it's gonna be tougher.
Yeah, Mr. Brown.
You know, I'm in favor of that 3-year as well.
Yeah.
If we're gonna educate our students, we gotta give them the very best. I know there's elderly here, there's all kinds, but we can't solve everything here. Elderly have another outlet somewhere. They can get help from other services. But if you got children in here, they're the future. Who's to say one of them is gonna come out with some idea that's gonna revolutionize the way we live? Maybe a lot better than we are right now. To me, if you got kids, you've got to give them the tools, or if you're not going to give it to them, then let's just not bother with it at all. That's my feeling right here. We're here to educate, and within reason, but if you're going to keep cutting, there's going to be a point where you're going to run into something, and what is the cost of losing this? You know, what is it going to cost us if we decide to take this out? And then can you get it back again? It's the students are the ones that's going to suffer. We are going to teach them to be successful, not become a burden to the town or any place they go. They're our future, and we
Wood.
definitely need them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm all done.
Mr. Woods.
I also think this looks like a great contract. It really does. I commend everybody for the work that's been put into it to come up with this. There's a lot of positive in this. The issue is, I think I would go for the 3-year contract. However, we'll go back to what Humphrey said and what Andy just said, is that if that 33 cents in the 3rd year becomes an issue, that's a problem you guys have to go figure out. Where's the priority? Is the priority the teachers, or is it not? And if the teachers are the priority, which I think we'll all agree makes sense, that the teachers ought to be the priority, then let's go with the 3 years. But if the number becomes a problem in the 3rd year, you guys have to go figure out how to solve it.
Mr. Brown.
Once again, if we can have in the minutes a template for planning ahead, so that when we're sitting here in 3 years, we know exactly that this is one of the things we need to be talking about for the school contract, I would say thank you very much. There is right now on Broadway a show that has the catchy name basically of The Constitution. It is a one-woman show, and it started out when she was in high school and won the Voice of Democracy contest. And she is now on Broadway, having produced and starring in her own interactive, like Hamilton, only just one person discussing the issues that founded this country, coming out of a Voice of Democracy.
The only thing I'm saying, Mr. Chair, right, well, I don't know what Larry just said, but that's fine. You know, there was a very important warrant article that failed on the school last year, and it was special education, and it should have passed. I mean, I'm just stating the facts, all right? And I mean, hopefully we can figure out how the teachers can get a raise without, without moving the budgets. That's the only thing I'm saying.
That's impossible.
Well, it isn't, because we just
We
did
just
it.
did it with the town. We figured out how to give the people the pay raises by cutting in other areas. So it's not impossible. But it's hard, but I'll tell you, Doug, because I know it's extremely hard, and I can tell you how hard it was at the shipyard when we were told, it's not just you're going to cut 10%, and then next year you're cutting it again. And that hit me in education. Same thing. Like I said, I'm speaking from that too, because I might not have had the teachers' contracts, but I had instructors who weren't getting the raises they wanted either. Okay, but we had to figure out a way to find other cuts so that it didn't impact everything. So, and again, I think I can agree with Dennis. This is a good contract. I don't have a problem with the contract, and I don't have a problem with people trying to get pay raises. I do know that, I mean, I'll tell you, that's why I made the comment, selling 8 cents is a lot easier than even selling 33 cents. And that's not a lot, excuse me, 41 cents, because it's 33 cents more. It doesn't sound like a lot, and it doesn't sound like a lot when you throw it out and say it's only this much. But you get people in town going, if it's only $1 more, they don't want to spend the money. And I'm not saying that's everybody. But right now, we did figure out how to get pay raises to people that need pay raises, and figured out other places to save. And that's why my comment was, I'd like to say 3-year contract, yes, but I haven't even seen the budget yet to see what else is going to change. It's very hard to go and say, I recommend going ahead and paying extra money when I don't know what how much of the increase is there going to be on the overall budget? Or is there an increase in the overall budget? That's hard, you know?
Mr. Sussman.
We've kind of heard from everybody. I don't want to put you on the spot. We haven't heard.
Speak, Timmy.
I just do a lot of listening.
What do you think, a 2-year or 3-year?
I'm on the fence, honestly. I mean, I think if we lock in a 3-year, at least we know what our expenses are, but I also see the advantage to the 2-year with the lower tax impact. So I don't know, I'm on the fence.
I'll take either one.
I understand that, Doug.
But let me say, we have all the warrant articles drafted, all but one. We have a rough estimate for our budget. Then we gotta come and see you for the budget.
Yeah.
But what's the figure right now?
So we don't have to decide.
We don't-
No.
So if we can get to a 60-40 crapshoot or a 75-25 crapshoot for the stuff we may pull out of the budget, then we go with 3.
Yeah,
If I could, just keep in mind that the 33-cent impact and so forth, that's the potential impact to the tax rate. It's not necessarily an increase in the tax rate.
Yeah.
In the overall tax.
Right. So let's just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Don't everybody freak out because they're seeing any kind of an increase in the tax rate.
And that assumes everything stays as it is now. And, as people leave and come in, that number is gonna change. I guarantee it'll change within 3 years, right there, Larry?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Sussman.
The Constitution.
Get used to yourself.
As you said, Tom, and you've gone back to, I would be cautiously optimistic that the breakage point in 2 more years with the amount of retirements is not going to be 33 cents. Now, admittedly, my initial reaction, and both sides know this, was a 2-year because of some of the aspects you said. From an educational standpoint, the board and also the Teachers Association, for all the great reasons that Larry said, Bob said, you said, and some of you have said, makes great sense. So the reason they're here tonight is to maximize the opportunities for them to possibly pass this. I mean, it's a warrant article, it's a standalone. I know that we can't lose it in complexion with what the overall tax increase, but yet people, when they go to vote, whatever the warrant article is or whatever the budget is, they can vote yes or no for whatever they want. So they might vote no for the school budget or for whatever else is on there, but looking at this on the merits of itself, so you may very well go in there and say, I've been doing this for 50 years, so I mean, I know what the game is. You add it all up and say, what am I going to go with, what am I not going to go with? But they're here tonight to look at this by itself. What is the greatest likelihood of it? You know what I'm saying, right?
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, we know it's very important to have your support behind us, because I know the last year's budget or the last year's contract didn't have the support. And we did unfortunately fail by under 100 votes, but at the same time, we know it was because we didn't have the support. It was brought to you, I guess, in later than it was intended to. And so this is why we kind of pushed to really get something done well in advance so that you could see it and go through it and ask questions so that we can get your support to help.
Okay.
And I know there's some other, expenses. I know you brought up special ed costs. We can't control that. Nobody can control that. And yes, having a student come or having a student leave can mean thousands of dollars to a budget. And
No, I just know that this is a unique little town, and a lot of us have lived here for a long time, and in the last, I want to say off the top of my head, 12 years we've been in 7 defaults, and I don't want to set anybody up for failure. That's not who I am. Of course the teachers deserve a raise, but we just gotta work as a team and try to figure out how to go about it without I just know how it works here in this community.
So it sounds like to me, and the board can correct me if I'm wrong, that generally speaking, the board thinks this is a reasonable contract. If you just look at the contract itself, it's a reasonable contract. And it sounds like to me, listening to the board would support either a 2-year or a 3-year, but the general consensus of the board seems to be it may be easier to get the 2-year by the people, simply because when you look at the tax rate. But we believe the 3-year may be in the best interest of the town, because you know what your costs are going to be. But it sounds like, and please anybody speak up if I'm misspeaking, that we would support either one. We believe the 3 years in the best interest of the town. We believe the 2-year is the one that may be easiest to get approved by the voters.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a reason? Well, I see lots of head nodding up and down in a vertical plane.
You're
what,
you're
Tom?
absolutely correct
sorry.
on both points.
You said something at our last meeting at the fire station that really impressed me.
Comes natural. I say a lot of things that impress people. Sometimes good,
What was
sometimes
the first
bad.
time? No.
Tell us, Peg, because we didn't hear it. Go ahead.
Lynette's not here to back that up, so
Oh, dear.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just whatever the budget, I mean, you said it before we even started cutting, and you said, this is a budget. We are going to be behind it. We are going to go out there and we are going to sell it. And I mean, I know there was a lot of back and forth about knocking
Yeah,
on
yeah,
doors
you're
and,
condensing about 45 minutes worth of talk here.
well, whatever it was, but it really impressed me that you're absolutely right. That we need to sell a budget to the townspeople. And if it's $1 over the default 14 years ago, we still need to sell it because it's what is in the best interest of the town. And I hate to say anything, but I think I might qualify for one of the elderly people in town.
There's a few of us on the board that already do.
Yeah, right.
Well, I think I'm elderlier than you guys are.
Even still.
She taught math, not English.
No, I taught English, science, math, just not social studies. I could never spell it. So I would never have been able to do that show. Anyway, no, I just wanted you to know that I was really impressed, and that is kind of stuck in my head, going, you're absolutely right. And I think that's why I said earlier that what the budget committee says, we have to sell it. We have to sell it to the people. And if we're against something, the people in the town are not going to vote for it. And we should not be against something. I mean, we should be, I don't know. Anyway, all right,
Okay.
I'm
I-
shutting up now.
All right,
I'm done.
is
Moving
any other talk about the contract? Mr. Larry, you look like you're quivering there trying
Not
to...
just the, what Humphrey is saying. Again, thank you, Lisa. Simple numbers. It starts out with a budget that's 100. We find 20. The contract comes in at 22. We can prove attrition's going to knock off $2. 100 equals 100. Bingo. We're done. Thank you very much. We support it.
Okay, so,
That's right.
so basically, we'll support whatever you do as long as it's this contract.
Okay,
That
I
sounds like the
like
gist of
that.
it.
I'll make one more comment. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, is it Mary Ann?
Yes, it is.
Mary Ann, does the 3-year contract, from a teacher perspective, kind of lessen the impact of the retention issue?
It's part of it, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
So
they know if they're going
there's
to-
another plus up for the 3-year contract, because like I said, the impact on the tax rate is something we can deal with, or someone will have to deal with 3 years from now. But if it adds to the positive side of the retention issue, it's just another plus up for the 3-year.
That's
So-
a great
Yeah.
point. And like we keep going back to, I really don't think it's gonna be that. Because I think that
Yep.
just we already have a person that's leaving, and we suspect some more the next year. And unless it isn't an area that you find like the science or math, like advanced science, math, and those things we've talked about before. You know, law and supply and demand in certain fields, you can do pretty well in terms of getting a new person that won't be up there. So I'd be cautiously optimistic that things would continue to fall. You could see what this first year is.
Yep.
I just think personally that, the town has been reevaluated this year. I think that the 2-year will be a smaller pill to swallow for the taxpayers. And I just think that, it's not, of course the teachers want a raise. And if you want to give them a raise, they're better off going for the 2 years. And that's my opinion. So I would be in favor for the 2 years.
Humphrey?
Yeah, and as I said it before, because I'm on the same page. I'm not against the 3-year plan. It looks good. But
I'm
I
not
believe,
either.
no, but I'm saying, I really
Realistically, I'm
believe,
not, but-
I believe that if you go with the 3-year plan and show an increase, and they don't know what's gonna happen budget-wise, that you're gonna have the same group of people saying no. And the worst, and this is exactly the point that we get into at our meeting the other night. I don't wanna see us going into a default, either in town or at the school, because it stifles what you gotta be able to do business-wise. So the thing is I think it's gonna be a lot easier to turn around and say, it's an 8-cent impact over a 2-year plan with a reduction this coming year, because he's right, there's a shock value in town right now when the assessments went out And I don't wanna rely on just Facebook, but just listening to people on that alone, it's like, what's that gonna do? And they don't know what the tax rate's gonna be. We know that, that's still gonna be done. So, I think if you go with the 2-year, you will be able to get it through. I think if you go with 3, and Earl, I agree, we don't know, there's some variables there, but they don't know what the budget's gonna do, you don't know what that increase is gonna be. You know there's gonna be some increases there that's gonna scare people. So I think it's a lot easier to sell a 2-year plan.
So, like I said again, well, we like this contract, whichever you decided to do, but we believe 3 years, best interest of the town, 2 years, probably what's easiest to sell. So we'll let the hard decision up to the school board.
Well, you weren't looking
That's why
for
we came to
it.
you.
It's not our position to make a decision.
No, we can't
So-
tell you to go
Yeah,
one
we
way.
could just-
We can't
Legally,
tell you
can't
how to
say you
spend the
have to
money.
do this, so.
Yeah. So,
We know that.
okay, are we done with the contract?
I think so, thank you. I
If,
appreciate
uh,
input and stuff.
Well, thanks.
We
It's-
might,
it's,
while we
uh,
still
it's-
have
It shows a
Mr.
lot of
Shute and
good work.
Sussman here. What's the state of the budget? When might we expect to have a school budget?
Next week, maybe?
Next week, he's coming closer, right? Okay?
Yeah, what was it, yesterday? He's on vacation this week, but he had to come in yesterday. And he said that he should be done Monday or Tuesday with our default. And we're gonna have to have a quick meeting, the school board, and just kind of look at the default and
Okay, so
yeah,
you're
but we're
looking
looking at, we've gotta
Yeah.
get it going.
the second or third? Yeah, Monday or Tuesday, second or third, right? You think you might have it done?
He's asking for the dates you want to meet with us.
Yeah,
We would love to meet, well, according to what I've got now, we haven't talked here, but if we could meet middle to the end of next week, I think that would work out really good. The 4th or the 5th. Will you be able to have it done by then?
Can't do it on the
Thought it
5th.
would be the Nate.
What's that?
I would
Nate
say,
talked to you.
I would say probably if, in my discussions with them, if we shoot for Thursday.
the 5th.
Thursday?
I
the-
mean, but we'd have to.
Okay, how
check
about,
with them.
I just got a member that said he can't do it on the 5th. How about the
2
6th?
members who can't. 3, actually, 3 members.
The 6th is Thursday.
No, the 5th
is
is
Friday.
Thursday, the
5th is
6th is
Thursday.
Friday, I
5th is
can't
Thursday, 6th
Friday.
is Friday.
I can't that Friday. I think it would be nice if I were here for school board.
Sounds like
budget.
Wednesday would be the choice.
Any chance of having it Wednesday?
How is he doing with the booklet? Because I'm
What's
not,
that? On the
On
4th.
the 4th.
Okay. The 11th we'll have our meeting.
Yeah, you've got a regular meeting the 11th.
right.
And we're not gonna meet again for the rest of December.
Well,
Yeah, that's-
we've been meeting a lot when we weren't.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why
Um,
we were, it would be nice if we could at least hear the presentation, give us some time to digest it so we can come back before your meeting with any questions that we might have. Is kind of what I was thinking, having it earlier than waiting until after your meeting to
Why don't we
get the
hold
budget.
them and tell them that they would like to be done with.
Shall we
Wednesday?
tentatively say the 4th and hope for the best? Because I know we're meeting, or we've
They're
got to,
not, will they get it in time though to be able to
Pardon?
review it? Will the budget committee be able to get it
It's
in time
true.
to review it?
Well, I'm thinking if you give it to us on the, if you could present the budget on the 4th, this is the first time we've seen it, give it to us on the 4th.
Okay.
Present it to us, you know, the highlights, the lowlights, whatever. Hey, this is it, here's the book, this is where everything's at, all the information's in there.
I don't know if he's gonna have the book made or not.
yeah, that's going to be one of
Okay.
the problems.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the book. Now,
Okay.
you're gonna want, when are you gonna want the department heads? After the 4th?
Ooh.
Give you the and then you can get your questions, and drill them when they come in.
Well, if we could get it on the, if
That
we
part
could
of
get it on the
the book.
4th, let's see, now we're getting into the topic later on in the meeting, which was our schedule of meetings for the next coming while. But, yeah, if you got, here, if we could hand calendars out to, do we have enough?
I think so, I might have.
All right.
Skip the first one, it's November.
Yeah, 1st of November, we're already done with November,
Already done with that.
pretty much.
Are we passing these now?
Yeah, pass. So if people have a calendar to look at, that's all.
If you want one, you want
Sorry, I'm,
Yeah, really just give people,
Nathan.
so they know when dates are.
Nathan,
You know, see
Nathan.
when dates fall on the,
I may still have one of these.
all right. Okay,
I'm gonna show you one of these.
okay. All right,
She don't have one.
Wait, we can take Peg's.
You wanna take hers?
all right, that's it, Peg, you have to give yours up.
Here.
So I just heard.
That's all they do is ever
We-
take stuff
Yeah,
from
yeah,
me.
take that, Andy and I'll just look at this one now.
You know what? Here, I have the same,
No, we're all set, Peg, we're all set.
you sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, Andy and I can, it's just to look at this one now to figure out what we're
Oh,
doing.
all right.
Yeah, okay, so,
I could look at it with you.
I just sent a,
okay, we're on the 26th today, nothing's gonna happen until next week, which would be the first week of December. If we could get the budget on the 4th, that gives us, basically, we can, if you could present it, this is the highlights, this is the lowlights on the 4th, then we can look at it, and then respond back with any questions to the, before your school board meeting on the 11th, was my thought. Then, we could, maybe if the members here agree, maybe meet on the 12th. I'm really trying to stay away from Saturday meetings, because,
thank you.
but, Mr. Woods isn't gonna be here on the 12th. But we gotta start, yep. Okay, yep. Yeah, okay, I got it here now. So if we got it on the 4th, we could,
Planned for months.
and you're going 10th, the 8th through
11th
the
through the 15th.
11th through the 15th. So we could start our discussions on the 10th. Maybe, if we received the budget, we could, that would give us, if we got it on the 4th, give us until the 10th. We could meet on the 10th and chew on it, start, okay, we've looked at it, this is directions that we think we can go. We could bring that back, email that to the school board for your meeting on the 11th and say, hey, this is the direction we think we can go. Then I just got a member that said he's not going to be here through the 15th. So then we could come back and meet
The following week.
on the 18th. And I say the 18th because we've got a selectmen's meeting on the 16th, planning board meeting on the 17th. So we could meet here on the 18th and discuss the school budget again. And possibly on the 19th. If you see in the calendar, we've got the 18th open, we say the 19th. Yes, Mr.
So
Sussman?
what I'm thinking then is on the 18th, we could have the default and have the department heads.
Okay,
So we can have the department heads, but before that, we'll get you the default budget after the board meets on
Yep.
the 11th. The board's gonna meet on the 11th. So the 4th, we'll have dates in, and then we'll have Nate here and we'll go over the nuts and bolts on the 4th. Then on the 11th, the school board will meet, and then the next week will come on the 15th, did you say?
No,
18th.
18th will come on the 18th, that way everyone will be back. He comes back on the 15th. So then we can have the department heads here. We could have the full, but we'll send you the default budget a week earlier.
okay.
So you'll have that. And then we'll have the department heads. This way you could give the board some ideas on the 4th of some direction. They can discuss it on the 11th.
Yep.
The department heads, we're constantly taking a look at it. I had some conversations with a few of them during the course of the day on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And so did that time frame work for you, Doug? Okay.
Yeah, I just actually sent a text to Nate, seeing how far
Okay.
along he is.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is, because the way Christmas and New Year falls this year, it's going to be very difficult the last 2 weeks of December, I think, to get anything done.
Yeah, no, he's
You know.
got the school budget. It's a default
Yep.
that he's gonna work
Okay.
on.
Yeah, in the default, really, the only we don't have any say over that. That's, the school board comes up with that. That's really to know how close to that are we with the budget. Is really the biggest interest there for us for the default.
Yeah.
Not, it's almost a curiosity, if you will, than anything else.
So would you run by those dates again?
Okay, if we would like to have the budget on the 4th,
Okay, got that.
all right,
You're not
and
doing
present.
anything on the 5th, you're crossing that off.
Yep, crossing that off. So,
Okay, yeah.
so we would be presented the budget on the 4th,
Okay.
okay? And then, that's the broad strokes, they outlines, hey, this is where we cut, this is where we had to increase, and reason for that. Then that'll give us some time to chew on it. We will meet on the 10th, if the board agrees, and we'll start we think this is too high, we think this is too low, and that should set us a direction of where we think should go.
So on the 11th, we will approve the default budget.
Okay, and then hopefully on the 10th, I'll have a direction. I'll be able to email that to Peg and you and whoever else on the school board.
Okay.
So you can have an idea. I could probably even come to answer any question you might have if it's a radical change. And then our next meeting,
The 12th, you're gonna erase.
12th, we're going to erase. We're not going to meet on the 12th.
Okay, go ahead.
And
The 18th.
the next meeting would be the 18th because members being out of town, and we got a selectmen's meeting on the 16th, a planning board meeting on the 17th, so the first time we can meet here would be the 18th. And and then so the 18th, and maybe we would need to meet the 19th,
Okay, I got it.
which would be Thursday.
Yes, so it's
so-
5 meetings, I got them all right.
All right, does the board follow that?
Yeah, my only question is, as far as presentation goes. I mean,
Well,
I'm asking because of, how are we going to see the presentation in this time? I'm not talking about the talking, but I know a lot of cases, we've met over the fire station because it's a lot easier to see stuff up on the screen.
Well,
how are we gonna do this to
Well,
make it
here,
easier for us?
They give us books that have basically everything. I scanned it and emailed it out to everybody, I think.
No, I know I got the book from
It's
last
gonna
time.
be,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a book like that,
Okay.
that has all the backup material in it. And that may come sometime after the 4th. It may not be there on the 4th, but you said you're gonna try to see if Nate can be here on the 4th to present highlights and lowlights of it.
Yeah,
Right.
Peg is.
And Peg,
I'm shaking my head,
Yeah,
yes.
she-
I think he's
Okay,
ready.
so back to my comment, the reason is because we got the expenditure reports that I've put together somewhat like we did with the town, and
And
I've got it on the computer here, and.
you should have the revenue reports. You
And I
should
got
have
the
everything
revenue
right
reports
now.
today.
Yeah.
So my point is the books are fine from their presentation, but for us to be able to show what we've got for data, we need a way to display that. That's all I'm getting at.
well, I'll
gonna be a
see
part
what I
of
can
it.
do, but I'd prefer
Whether
to
we
meet
do a
here.
screen here and do the projector,
Yeah,
or we do
I'd
it
prefer to meet here
someplace
because it's a lot easier than packing this stuff up and
else.
moving.
Yeah, no, I just,
The-
we need presentation,
Yeah.
equipment.
Mr. Shute,
Question, when do you want the books? What date?
as soon as we can get them.
As soon as possible. You want them for the 10th?
As soon after the 4th as we could, if you can get them for the 4th, that'd be great.
Okay,
I'm not gonna hold my breath for that.
We'll ask that.
Yeah, no,
But-
as I said, I sent a
Yeah.
text to.
Well, the last book, the final books won't be done till we finish all of our.
No, we understand.
Yeah, no, this is the
Well, he's done the books, and then we've made changes, and, my book, the cover actually fell off because I kept adding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
okay. All right,
What's
so
more
we
stuff?
deleted our
The
5th meeting. We're not meeting the 4th,
Got it.
The 10th and the
4th, the 10th,
18th,
and the 18th.
and possibly the 19th.
Possibly the 11th.
We're meeting on the 11th, that's just us, yep.
Yep. Okay, 18th and possibly the 19th. All right, pardon me as I get my calendar updated here.
So we actually don't have an actual budget committee meeting that month because that Thursday is
Well, we're gonna talk about that.
Christmas.
Yeah, you weren't planning on going anywhere, were you?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, too
oh,
bad.
yeah.
Any more?
Oh God, it's either Christmas or Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve.
Change that time.
Other warrant articles.
Should be scheduled.
Okay, all right, well, that,
I may have to change that out of there. He's already got it ready. The town-
well, yeah, it sounds like, yeah, town's warrant article we gotta
That's
worry
the one
about.
I'm worried about.
Okay, so, I think we got all that. Now, to throw something else at our fellow budget committee members and the school while we've got them here. When going through, something we've got to do, for those that haven't done this before, we have to hold a public hearing sometime in January. The absolute last date we can hold it is
Right here,
on the calendar, like the 21st?
21st.
21st. What looks good to me is if we could hold on, because a perennial complaint from people is, you hold your meetings at 6 o'clock on a weekday, I can't get there. So have the public hearings held here on a Saturday, probably start at like 10 o'clock and go until we're done, for the school and town budget and warrant articles. The 18th looks like a decent day to me, because then we can move it to the 21st if we had to for a snow day, and still make that would be the absolute last day we could do it, but still make when all the times work out. It looks like if we could do like we do with the deliberative session, have the town and the school public, have the town first, and then 3 hours later schedule the school for their public hearing. If that looks okay, is that something that the school would be able to support?
I have no problem. I don't personally, but see why we can't.
Okay.
Okay, so that takes care of the 15th.
Wait, talk, 18th, and then the 21st is a snow day.
Yeah, and I say that rather than the 20th, because you probably don't, meet on the 19th. It's a Saturday, the 20th is a holiday, it's Martin Luther King Day. Of course, there are people that don't have to go to work that day, she's not to be able to come to public hearing then. But, then the snow day could be the 21st.
Let's try it.
And let me put that in here.
We'll just say there's not gonna be any snow in January, it'll be all set.
Have we gotten to the deliberative session yet? No?
Deliberative sessions is the first week in February and the second week in,
Yeah, and
on a
that-
Saturday.
And that we gotta chat with the Board of Selectmen about. Yes, sir, Mr. Brown?
Operationally, for the 18th.
Yep.
Do you plan to call and adjourn the school or town public hearing? Have the first public hearing until it ends, and then convene the second? Or do you plan to have one at 10 and one at 1 p.m.?
I would probably prefer one at 10 and one at 1 p.m., something like that.
Last year.
Because that way, if we do the town first and the school doesn't have to show up and wait for the entirety of the town. Of course, then we would have an audience built in, but, then you're not making them wait. They know, hey, we show up at 1 with the understanding that if the town were to run long, because we get loads of questions, we have half the town show up, that it may get pushed back. We'd have to open it, recess it until, we finish with the town. But that's what I'm thinking, if the committee would be okay with that.
Fine, either way.
But that way, we get them all done at once. We don't have to worry about tying up 2 nights and everything else. Mr. Brown?
May I ask my learned colleague, Mr. Carrier, what his memory of the length of public hearing has been?
I have. We had it once before, and it was did not go well, but that was a weeknight. I think the town got dragged out way up, and they were here for over 2 hours waiting. I know, I've already put that past the chairman on that.
So the 10 and the 1.
10 and the 1, well, we can give that a shot, we'll have to give it a try, but it's a consensus. It's just something that we're gonna try on a Saturday. We might get more people, more feedback.
Yeah, that's the goal for doing it then, is trying to make it available for the public, because you want, for one thing, we have to defend what we've set for the budgets and everything else. And the easier you make it for people to come and ask you questions, so that you have to defend what you've done, the better it is. The more open it looks like to the people, then you're removing that barrier. That's what I'm after, is removing the barriers for people to find out what's happening.
Yes,
So,
yes, and I want it here, and I want that video
Yep.
working.
exactly. Is it still working?
Yes, it
Hey, it's
is.
still working. Woo-hoo.
Don't say too much.
I've jinxed it.
Don't
I'm working on
breathe.
that.
It looks like it's working on this end, right?
Yeah. Yeah, if it's working here, I can get it up on the internet.
Okay.
Because if it's working here, it's recording. Okay, that pretty much, I think, does us with the school.
Just one question.
Yes, sir.
On the 11th, you're gonna have all the warrant articles, you're gonna have your recommendations put on it?
We've already voted for a recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna
We
have
voted
your,
where we're taking the money from.
okay,
I can't remember what percentage is coming out of surplus.
Okay.
What percentage is going. The only thing we're waiting for was one more warrant article to
Yeah.
be written. All the
Okay.
rest have been written and basically approved.
okay, because,
And where they're coming from, what's gonna be tax money, and what's gonna come out of our surplus at the end of the year.
I guess what I was just saying, last year, it was the 2nd of January when we got to yours, and we had to include the town right behind you, because they came in late. If we can get the because we have to make our recommendations on there as well,
Yeah.
and if we can do it,
What day we
So
gonna talk?
basically,
or maybe the 18th we go, I
on
mean,
the 18th.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, because we have them done.
We would do the default and also the warrant articles.
okay,
And we
Yep.
would start the department heads, and like Tom was saying, go on to the 19th, probably divide them up like we've done in the
Yep.
past. Take half the book the one day and
Yep.
half the book the next. You know, as, you know, we can ascertain who to do on each
Yep.
day.
that would work.
Mr. Woods.
Why would we wait if you've got all but one warrant article written and approved? Why would
Not
we
approved,
wait?
not run by the DRA yet.
Okay.
We write them, attorney and then the DRA. They review
But I
it.
mean, we have what we want to put on them.
Okay.
They've got it.
So is that information you're willing to release now so that we can get cranking, reading through them and
Take-
so forth? I mean,
Well, they'll be in the, what we voted on will definitely be in our minutes. You know what we got coming and where we're taking the money from. And we approved, I think we all approved them all.
Rough draft.
But
I
haven't got that
think
far
I
now.
sat through that meeting online and,
Wherever we were.
yeah. We didn't, it
didn't
wasn't.
write it
a-
down?
It wasn't, no, no, I didn't. No. But that wasn't the intent the intent was just to kind of monitor what was going on in the meeting, not to be able to sit and read and absorb and discuss with my committee members. But if there's that kind of text already ready and you're not embarrassed by its release, then
Well, we got-
what's wrong with
we got-
giving
we
it
gotta
to
write
us
them,
early?
The attorney and the DRA's gonna approve it. Remember, we gotta put that raise and appropriate in there.
Yes, yeah, I know.
The what?
That's
Our
raise
raise?
and
Raise and
appropriate.
appropriate.
Whatever
Yes.
can be
Oh, I thought you
shared
meant
as
I raise.
early as possible would be much appreciated.
Exactly.
You guys agree?
Yes,
Yep.
yep, it's doing hurt, we're not hurt.
Okay, all right, are we done chatting about school stuff? So we can let Mr. Sussman, Mr. Pugh, Miss Mary Lou?
Marion,
Mary Ann.
Don't.
And I would say
Mary
Peggy,
Lou.
Peggy get to leave.
Hello, Mary
No.
Lou.
You gotta sit.
Okay,
I forgot about that.
Thanks,
Hello, Mary
guys.
Lou.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mary
all
Ann.
right.
Marion, thank you for coming.
And we have,
Have a nice holiday.
Oh, that's,
you.
oh my God, I keep forgetting that it's holiday season.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. you
Happy
too.
Thanksgiving to everybody.
yes.
Happy Turkey Day. Eat and be merry.
Continuing with anything?
oh yes, oh yeah, we're gonna hash out some, make sure we got the dates all hashed out here. I think we do. I just wanna
Okay, you.
make sure that we do.
Why do I not have a piece of paper that doesn't?
Like an agenda?
You don't have a
Okay. You call
All
it
right.
was?
Okay, so let me make sure I got,
Bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
oh no, that, okay, never
And
mind.
I'm leaving you, Peg, all by yourself with the,
That's November?
in the
Okay.
den with the lions.
All right, that's November, I'm gonna go back here to December, okay. So I just want to double check our school board meeting days are basically gonna be the 4th, the 10th, and we'll have to double check whether we can get in here There's nobody scheduled here. I don't think there is,
I
but
don't think so either.
I'm gonna chat with Ernie
18th?
hopefully tomorrow. Then maybe somebody will come chat with the school board on the 11th. That would be me. And then the 18th
And then
and
19th.
possibly the 19th if we have to.
Yep.
By the end of the night on the 19th, I want to have a school budget done that we voted on. And again, as I mentioned with our town budget, one that we can all stand behind, defend, and are happy to present to the people.
And knock on everybody's doors, right?
If it is a budget that we think we have to do that, yes.
Okay.
Okay, then January, we have to have the town warrant articles by the 9th so that we can put our,
Oh.
we got, okay, yep, okay. So we talked about the school stuff. Then, if we're gonna have a meeting on the 18th, public hearing, which will be where we present the budget to the town and
Oh,
the warrant
it's the 18th,
articles.
okay, never mind.
That backs us up to the 14th of having a budget committee meeting where we're going to discuss town and school warrants, where we're going to give our official, which we can, 14th?
The 14th.
January.
You gotta remember, they gotta be able to print them out without recommendation as well.
Yep, that's what we talked about that, on the 14th, because it's a Word document, it doesn't have to be sent to a printer or anything.
No,
So the 14th, and if we have our meeting on the 18th, the warrants should all be written except for, all they should have to do was put, budget committee,
the recommendation.
662,
Yeah.
4. That should be all they have to do.
And that's what we'll
once
do
we're
on
done
the
on
14th.
Yes, that's what we'll do on the 14th. That would be the purpose of the 14th is
Yeah.
our,
Well, what are
this
we doing
this
on the
is when
14th?
we bless the warrant articles.
Both
Because remember,
town
we
and
can't,
School board?
let's set town and school board.
Okay.
That will be our official blessing of them. Okay, where,
So to speak.
and I say that rather than doing that when we first get what we get from the school, because that's not the official one. They haven't
Right.
passed that through the attorney and DRA where some language may have changed. So what we get on the 14th would be the official from both town and school. And then our public hearing for that would be on the 18th. For
Okay, so
both
that's
the town and the school, or school and town, however we decide to go.
January, got the wrong one here.
I,
All right, so I'm going back here. I'm trying to get all of this stuff in. So the 18th is
Public hearing,
Public hearing,
public
town and
hearing.
school.
Okay.
10 and 1, right? That's
Or
what
something
shoot
like
for?
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be here.
Yep, so that gives whoever is in charge of modifying the warrant articles 3 days to add in some numbers, which should be all that they have to do. And then that means we need town warrants by the 9th is what I have.
Well, I put it there, Mr. Chairman, because once we make the recommendation, somebody's gonna have to make some printouts, because that's.
Well, yeah, we have to have them in so we can review them.
Where is
We
the,
do
look
them,
at
and then we should actually put
What's
our
the status of the
recommendations in.
warrant?
there.
Yeah, the recommendations are on the
On the
14th.
14th, right?
We're at 14,
Yeah.
so we're just coming in for the
They,
town
they,
warrant.
they give us town warrants here.
Yeah.
Right? I email them out to everybody, hey, this is what we're gonna vote on, look at on the 14th. Because remember, we can't change numbers in the warrant articles. They are what they are. We either decide, yes, this is something worthwhile spending money on, or it's not. And, yes, sir, Mr. Brown?
That, thank you, Mr. Chairman. What Dennis was saying is what I've asked for a long time. The warrants are basically plug and play. And what I think Dennis was asking for is, give us a hint, folks.
Yeah.
You've got the first part due around the party, the second part, spend the $10. Tell us the $10.
Yep, yeah, to give us an idea. Then, that makes our job later, because we don't have to, we know what it's supposed to be. We still need to read it, but
you know
again,
what the status of the warrant for the town, warrants of the town are?
no idea.
We're gonna know the next meeting.
So, next Monday.
Okay, so the 14th, on the 14th, I'm still trying to get all of this in. This is gonna be all of the warrant articles.
That is when we give our
bless.
final
Okay.
up, thumbs down on the 14th.
I want to just ask the chairman, the selectmen's rep.
Yep.
Would the January 9th bit to get the warrants? But you're gonna know next month, within the second week of December, I believe, the CIP will come up with all the warrant articles, what you're going to support. They're gonna give you, the planning board's gonna give you, here it is, and you're gonna select which ones you want, and the rest will have to go out.
Right.
So,
Yep.
you would have enough time on that?
Yeah, let me, I'll run it by Ernie tomorrow.
Okay, 'cause
And I'll ask him if he thinks this is gonna be an issue. And then I will email the chair.
I think the
All right.
same kind of recommendation from us, I think, is to the town, is the earlier we can get them, the more time we'll
Yeah.
have to get them out, we'll get them out quick.
Yeah.
what we're doing,
Who
Nick's
was,
got a comment.
Yes, Nick?
I believe the planning board's waiting for the public hearing, correct? And once the planning board has the public hearing, then they'll send it to the select.
They'll send it, yeah.
And they'll pick it from
Yeah.
there, so
yeah,
it's
okay.
still
Yeah,
not
that's
at our
right.
level yet.
You have to have a public hearing
Oh, yeah.
first, and then they do it. We're just doing this a little ahead
but
of
the
time,
warrant
so
articles. are
last
before
year
the
was a
public
mess.
hearing?
We
Yeah,
had
we
to,
just,
we had to fight to get everything on.
I'm not
I only
sure
got
what
half
you're
an
talking
article, and then
about.
I had to do it the
That's
next day, call another meeting to do the other half, so.
Well, I remember
That's a
helping
public
you.
hearing he's now
Yes,
talking
oh,
about.
yes.
Yeah.
You were a
This
big
is-
help
No.
to me then. I'll
That's
tell
our
you.
budget. No,
It's their
that-
public hearing.
that's, this public hearing is us, presenting the budget and the warrant articles to the
Right, right.
town.
Planning board
Planning
has-
board
Planning board
their
has to
own-
have a public hearing
Right.
for the CIP.
Yep.
Thank you, Nick. I forgot all
Yeah,
about that.
that's separate from,
And we don't have a schedule on that.
that's correct.
Yeah,
But that should be, that will be
Yes,
very short.
hey.
you
You're
should.
almost done, yeah,
I'm just
almost through.
wondering, and this will be for you, quite honestly, Andy. When we got the warrant articles last year, there was nobody from the town. And remember that crazy one that was the NIAID? And I don't know how it was written, and I just remember
And then that got
Larry.
shifted around, right?
Larry came up with, your grandmother's rose bushes and whatever in your yard that were, we had to get rid of. Oh, it was horrible.
Actually,
And I voted against it, not having a clue what it was. And there was nobody here to ask. And then when it came around, correctly written,
The invasive species.
the NIAID and the lakes.
European
And I
NIAID.
asked that we could
Yep.
rescind the original vote because I wanted to vote for that because I thought
I
it was
remember
important.
Yeah.
But I had no clue what it was all about. So I guess maybe just, ask whoever's writing them to make sure that they're very clear, please.
We do
Well,
have
they try.
a much
Please?
better, town administrator will do a better job.
I'll try
Last
to
year,
have
the
all the
challenge.
information about our town
Oh, yeah.
warrant articles to
Yeah,
be able
you're
to-
gonna be here, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm-
no,
and
all I'm saying is that nobody was here and that one especially was just,
I'm the guy that pushed in the budget, and I'm the guy that pushed in the Board of Selectmen meeting to rewrite that because of how it was worded, then you got
Well,
it back
thank you.
afterwards. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
it's like,
Any other any questions about it, concerns about dates and meetings? I'm not sure when the deliberative session is yet.
It's the first two Saturdays in February.
yeah.
And it's either we have two separate meetings or we have one joint one.
Yep.
But that'll be up to the selectmen and the superintendent. They have to get together. We have no
Yeah,
say.
yeah,
in it.
yeah. I like the dual meeting
Yes.
personally, but
Yeah.
get it over with, waste one
Yes.
Saturday versus two.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Okay, all right, I think, any other questions about dates,
Me too.
concerns? Andy, does the dates for the warrant articles, things look reasonable, doable
January 9th?
from the town's point of view? Yeah.
Yeah, let me run it by Ernie tomorrow and
Okay.
I'll
All
have
right.
him, I'll actually have him email you. if
Okay.
it's doable.
All right, yeah, I was gonna
I
stop
mean, like
in.
Nick said, we gotta have a public hearing
Yep.
and
Okay. Well, and we've chased Nick out.
Bye, Nick.
We can talk about Nick now.
Okay. All right, and I'm gonna deviate a touch from the agenda if I could. I'm gonna bring up the town budget again.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've got
that's
the
right,
two
you have
things I
that.
think you were talking about. I
The-
didn't see that they had shifted the money from the homemakers health
Yep,
and the
yep,
their. Yes, we'll fix that right here. You
All
got it
let
right.
me-
I think
I wanna, well, there were about 4 items that I think were different.
That was
I just wanna make sure we all
decreased the
know.
We didn't catch. We only did the overall, but those two had to be fixed. That's the outside appropriation.
Yeah, okay.
That's all you did on that spreadsheet.
And unfortunately, I did not get around to printing this piece of the spreadsheet out. Ended up with a surprise appointment today. When we approved our last meeting, the outside appropriations, the number was $27,427.
Yes.
there was a discrepancy in the data that Humphrey took versus the data that I had. The data that I had, which was from the
last meeting they had.
which was from the last that Ernie had emailed us, which was like Friday before we met. What he had sent, the Homemakers Health Service
Yeah, I went back, that's 2,000.
proposal was $2,000, and the youth sponsorship there was $1,500.
Yep. And I'm
What Humphrey had in his budget was $1,000 for Homemaker Health Services and $2,500 for youth sponsorship, the DARE
Which
program.
was the older version. right?
Yes, I
Previous-
believe
previous
that's what.
week. It was in the previous meeting, and then they
Yeah.
shifted it.
Yeah,
just
which was,
before.
like 3 days before I got this one,
It
so.
doesn't change the bottom though.
No, it doesn't change the
Mine
bottom.
is the same.
No.
I just,
Just, we need to re-vote on that, perhaps?
We didn't vote individually on
we
those
didn't
line
do it
items.
individually on the
we
line items, so we
Oh,
probably
okay.
don't.
Yeah.
I just want everybody to be aware that there was this discrepancy.
And to clear it up, when I made the proposal, we accept the bottom line
Yeah.
budget
Yes.
of 27,427.
Nothing changed.
Yeah, nothing changes.
Did you
Just fix
change
the
yours?
numbers.
Yeah.
Bill?
I
Okay.
fixed the spreadsheet.
Okay,
All right.
there is one other one,
Up.
which I think this was again, bottom line, this was the rounding, famous rounding. The line number 4312-225.
Under what?
Mine rounded up, Humphrey's rounded down.
Under,
43, 12.
4312-225.
I will open it up here so we can see.
yes.
Yeah, well, it came to,
Yes.
mine was because it came down to 57, 54, 49. That
Yep.
was the one I told you,
Yeah.
increase yours on that, and it
Yep.
did balance out.
Yeah, and,
And I left the 2 on mine as the
yeah,
calculation.
and like I said, all the bottom line numbers add up.
Yep, that was the
I
social
just want to
security.
make sure everybody on the committee is aware of the differences. There was one more here, I
Well,
thought.
those two both ended up being 90 cents, that's why.
Yeah.
When you.
Yeah, they end up being okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and that might have been, I thought I had another one in here that may not have been the, oh, and then, this is the other dollar, was on
Yep, we.
line 4520-220, Recreation, Social Security, or FICA. That again was, your number was,
It ended up being the 34, 77, 45. I
Yep,
told
and
you
I-
to make yours 78.
yep, and that
Because that balance. out.
balances out.
Correct.
Okay, I just want everybody to be aware of that.
Yep, we did that.
Mr.
that-
Brown.
remember that,
So-
those two.
That, if your voice is being picked up in mine, when the minutes are transcribed, there will be just a notation that the clerically lines have been adjusted.
Yep.
And bottom line total unaffected.
Correct,
Yes, absolutely.
yes. And it's a bottom line budget anyway, so,
Let's hear it for the gold-plated process.
okay. I just wanted to have everybody be aware, I'm gonna send this budget to Ernie tomorrow. Actually, I'm gonna do it tonight so I don't forget tomorrow. And then come in and chat with him about it, to make sure if he has any questions, anything else. I just wanted everybody to know where we were at.
Is that lady out there, I can't remember her
Uh,
first name.
Lisa.
Lisa, does she get that too as well?
I can email it to her. It's, I haven't sent it to anybody yet because of this. I wanted to chat with the budget committee before I sent it anywhere because of what I saw when I was making sure that Humphrey's numbers matched mine, which is why I wanted to have 2 people taking numbers.
Yep.
Keeping track of numbers, just
Yep.
because of things like that, so.
You're right on the money.
And 2 separate spreadsheets, we're not using the same one or anything, so. Okay, all right. Unfortunately, I did not send out the expenditure reports. They're up on the town's website, I believe.
I've
or the
got
school financial
the,
reports.
The members have it, I have maybe 3 more. That's the October, the full month of
Yep.
October. I'm pretty sure I've got it.
Is Ernie sending those to you? Is
Uh,
that what's happening? Because
then-
we were getting them, and now.
Oh, there's this.
They were being sent, Danielle was sending them to me.
Yeah.
She did, and
Another
I've
one
gotten
here.
overtaken by events. I saw them come in, and I neglected to send them out.
I don't know what this one is. This one don't.
But usually, as soon as I see them, I forward hers to everybody. John probably got me an eye.
I just think it's gonna be awfully hard at this last second to turn around and try to just go
Meeting
through
adjourned.
this.
Yeah,
We're right on the money.
That's the issue.
There is a problem with it, though. I did not see our budget in there, Andy.
Okay.
I think it's 4 months in a row that we have not seen it. I don't know what's happened to it.
Okay.
So I don't know if we got eliminated or,
Yeah, they pretty much wanted to do without the budget committee.
Okay.
oh, I'm
Okay.
sure. I'm sure.
Hey, does that mean our time's done?
I make a motion that we adjourn and
Actually,
permanently?
Devil's advocate.
We didn't have any expenditures on the
gonna be fun.
September one either,
Yeah.
so.
We love the budget committee, so we'll
Well,
make
this is
sure
the
you're
full
there.
month of October. The other one we had up to the 18th, and this is just a full month. That's all that's up
Yeah.
there now.
Yep.
I got it offline.
All right.
They're under 75% on the override.
I did a bad job. I got one missing.
All right, and anybody have any other concerns, comments, questions about the town expenditure report? Mr. Brown, I see you twitching.
Yeah, just,
all
I know there
respect.
has been discussion in terms of what may have to be used for TANs and end-of-year expenditures, and we are not quite to December, so there is considerable concern, but no outright terror for how the budget is ending. That-
Yeah,
That's,
fair assessment.
yeah, I like that.
And if I might, the reason that we might have to get a TANs is because of the late setting of the tax rate?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Just one other thing, Andy. I know I've mentioned it many times on the cemetery line on page 5.
If you give a line number?
The line number is 0141955393, cemetery software. That should not be there, that 4,000. The 4,000 actually belongs to the next line, which is 0141955395, administrative costs. As you see, his budget is 0, but we're spending money out of that line. That 4,000 should actually be for the administrative costs.
So this moves down over.
And since this is a default budget, that 4,000 definitely needs to be there, because the software line does not, I don't even think it was in existence yet. If you could just have that checked out, Andy, because
Okay, I'm just,
it's not skewing, what it is, it's just showing 0 for the budget, but you're spending money out of the 0 line, so,
okay.
okay? I've tried to have that fixed, and Mr. Catwick did come down, and nobody seems to want to move on it, but it's not the reflective, it's not the right,
Yeah.
same number, but the same amount of money, but it's in the wrong place.
So 4,000.
Yep, you go to administrative cost.
It's under the cemetery line right here, because it's got the expenditures for admin costs versus software costs.
I don't know if we need this, Tom.
No, no.
Okay.
Okay, here it is.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing. I had a tough time.
I won't mention it again, no.
No, what I would ask though, Tom, is
Yep.
if we could I'd like to see this thing come back electronically, because, I was calculating where we
Yeah.
were going. It would be nice to turn around and be able to update
Yep.
for our benefit in the long run.
So
I know
line
where we're at.
393 should be on 395, that 4,000
Yes.
should be down on admin?
Yes, should
Okay.
be there,
Right.
because
It's not
if you
so.
go in default, I don't believe even the software was not even on here.
Okay.
Okay,
And that's actually the same comment we had when we went over the final.
Yeah.
We just approved the bottom line because he didn't know if it was
Yeah.
gonna be there.
Yeah.
Right.
and that's the only thing I saw, Andy. I mean,
Okay, and what was the other question?
The budget committee budget.
The budget.
Seems to
Yeah,
have disappeared.
It's still showing 0, so it's not showing up in here.
It's not there at all?
No, it's not here, that's right.
We
There
don't
was-
exist?
Well, this is October spending. I mean,
Yeah,
up
I
through, so
mean-
it didn't have any expenditures, it didn't show up, I think is
Well,
what
it
I
still
think is
should show
happening.
up.
It should show up, but I think what's happening is it's not, because it's not showing up under expenditure.
I haven't seen it in the September report as well.
Yeah.
How about
We're
the,
not getting these as we usually used to get them,
you looking
Right,
at that
because
one?
we have no
Looking for
bookkeeper.
EDC.
And you're not getting your Excel sheets, which you guys like.
Yeah, which is something else.
Okay, so that's
But
there.
with all the hassle with budgets and everything, I
I'll
think
spend
that's,
some
I
money.
think
That
that's
thing
what
kind of
it's
fell by the
for.
wayside a little bit
Well,
there, yeah.
Chris is
okay.
Chris is supposed to be spending.
Anything else about the town expenditure report? How about I saw Nate had sent out the school financial reports.
He sent
So-
out, no, he didn't send out, well,
Yes,
he
he
sent
did.
out the revenue and he sent out the financial reports by years. I didn't see the
No,
last.
I thought
he
he
just
had
sent,
He just sent the last one,
excuse
right?
me, he did send these out
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago at this point, right
Yeah,
after
that's what I
our
thought.
meeting.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He did send them
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
revenue, the grant, and the expense, and
Yeah, I don't.
whatever else he sends out.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I was
That's
thinking
all.
we were getting another one. You're right.
Yeah.
That was from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that was the end
Yes,
of
the
October,
revenues and
The grants.
or end of November, end of
on the
October.
14th.
I'll be honest, I didn't go
I don't
through
even know
them
what month
because
it is.
No.
Okay.
of where we were at.
All right, yeah, we've had a lot of meetings here lately.
Yeah,
It's-
it's
Yeah, I
gonna
know.
happen. It's gonna happen. You get one thing to do at a time.
All right, Peg, do you?
Uh,
You have any
expenses,
comments on them?
23% overall. He is working and working and working on the format. I still can't stand it. I hate it. I feel as though I have to stand on my head in order to read it because it's upside down. But one of the things that he is, if you even look through it, that he has taken care of, thank goodness. He called for mask. And I said, what? Anyway, what the system was doing was grabbing a line. Remember I said something once about the dental insurance?
Oh, yep.
And that, that poor person really needed to go to the dentist and get some new teeth. Well, it still is going on, but he's correcting it. So you look at lines and there's no budget, but there's expenditure, but there's no balance, there's no anything. It's like in, out, and it's now where it's supposed to be. So, anyway, we are 23% spent. If we look at, probably the worst is special ed, which is the second one. Since we have the encumbrances in there. Oh my God, where's the total? I hate this. Do let me stand on my head so I can read it. Well, it's at the beginning rather than the bottom or the end.
Oh, gee, that's right.
Oh, yep.
That's the difference.
Okay. Oh yes, special education, right at the very beginning. We still actually have some money left. Oh, amazing.
You're looking
Even
for
with the
total?
encumbrances.
Yeah, the encumbrance of 1.472, that one?
Well, all the
Yep,
1,200.
balance of 602,903.
Yep.
Yep. I do have to say we've been trying very hard to find ways to keep kids in the district and provide whatever their IEPs request. But we may have one student that has to be really outplaced overnight. Yeah,
Overnight?
like overnight for
Okay.
maybe the rest of his life, we don't know. And we've got it talked down to where we just pay the education portion, because otherwise it would be like $300,000 right off the bat for one kid. Yeah, it's, we can't control that. It's always an uncontrollable cost.
All right. Okay.
So, and then I know, did you share all your questions to me with your counterpart over there?
My counterpart.
Well, and it's you
My-
two get the get the reports.
Only because we're doing the spreadsheets.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm talking about. All the because he kept sending me questions and questions and questions, and I answered and I answered and I tried to answer. and I tried to answer.
I'll ask one question.
Okay, sir.
Little Rams,
Yes.
okay? It wasn't, that's very recent. Why
Well-
did we go to, and what is Little Rams in comparison to the middle, the
Okay.
elementary, and the high
Little
school?
Rams used to be Bright Beginnings, but because the mascot for Newt and the elementary school is the Ram,
Okay,
they changed the name to Little Tiny Itty Bitty Rams.
okay. Because when I went through and I was trying to go
Oh,
through the
true,
expenses,
yeah.
it just showed up, you
Yep,
know,
yep.
and so it wasn't there
So
before.
compare it to Bright Beginnings.
And it's only under the special education.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Mr. Brown?
Did you want me or him?
It is a program which, as I think I remember, has in it the potential to bring in students from the regular population on behalf of inclusion.
It used to be that any pre-kindergarten program was wonderful. You could have 100% special ed students or students with special needs. And then the government came out with a mandate that it had to be 50-50. So, but it still falls under special ed because even though you're working with, and I hate using all these words, kids who don't need special needs, the focus really is for the students who have the special needs, and then just the inclusion and making sure that not only are they getting what they need educationally, but they're getting the social skills too. So,
No, I asked in regards, and I think, in regards to the financials, because as I was trying to compare, looking at where the costs were in the elementary, middle school, and high school, and then under special education, I see Little Rams and never saw it in the other piece. Because I can tell you, I'm going back, I didn't see Bright Beginnings in there either.
it would have been BB probably.
Yeah, so
He wasn't on board when that change happened. I think it was, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
in 2017 is when it seemed to have changed.
Yeah.
Okay, was it BB? Because it was under BB for a while.
Mr.
Mr.
Chair,
Olson.
quick question. Is the middle school nurse and the high school nurse the same people?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, if you look at the account number and the 01 at the end is elementary, 02 is middle, 03 is the high school. So if you see, if my salary were $20,000 and I was doing the high school and the middle, you'd see, what did I say, 10,000, 5,000, 02, 5,000, 03, because it would be split. Unless sometimes it's a little bit more for the high school because there are 4 classes rather than 3 classes.
What's 88?
42.
88 is 42. Good answer.
Well, I had no
Did
clue what the
everybody
question was.
This woman is amazing. She just rattles them off.
So by the way, would it have been ABA by chance? Even though it's not, doesn't say Bright Beginnings. It's
No,
the only thing I can
ABA
find in
is
16.
ABA is the tutoring program
That was
for
it,
the
okay.
elementary.
And I've got each, I've got that for each of them. And it really is, it's not gonna change much. It was just how we broke out where
Yeah,
the
well,
expenditures
look for
were.
BB.
Yeah, I
All
can't
right,
find it in
Mr.
16.
Mr. Brown.
The ABA is the Adaptive Behavior Assessment. And I think the phrase at the moment is neurotypical. Have you come across that?
I've not heard that word, but
Yes,
it was,
it is the latest term for the, in total inclusion
Yep.
is those with special needs and those who are neurotypical.
Okay, all right.
neurotypical kids.
Anything else on the school district expenditure reports, revenues, anything else? And Mr. Woods, are you getting email copies of those from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And
I don't think Lisa's getting it from the school board.
Oh, you know what, Lisa? Do you want them, my dear?
I just gave her a copy of my stuff here. I printed them out, I printed her, I got her a copy, just Justin. was
Make
on
sure before you leave, give me your email, and I'll make sure Nate gets it. No problem.
okay, fortunately, I did not send out any minutes. I haven't received. I think Bob has some
there.
minutes.
I sent you those minutes, but I gotta make corrections on, one of the names, the town administrator. I didn't give him the right name, the full name. This is 8 pages, and I'm gonna tell you right now, they're pretty much verbatim. Because we did not have the video, there was a lot said.
And this was,
I
what
wasn't
date?
there.
The 20,
November 12th.
November 12th.
Everybody should have a copy. I got extra copies if they want it.
You get it electronically?
No, we didn't get it electronically. I sent it to Tom and I did not see it come
And
out.
I've gotten overtaken by events the last week or so.
So we need this now because we're gonna.
Well, we're not gonna be able to
approve
prove it now
Yeah,
anyway.
you haven't had a
It's 8
chance to look
pages,
at it.
we're not gonna approve it now.
Can you forward them out so
Yeah,
we can?
I will.
This will give them a chance to look at it, then they can make the changes in there. Andy, did you get one? You must have got one.
Yeah, I got one.
Oh, you got one.
Yep.
Our email. doesn't-
Those who don't have the computers, I made one, a copy for them. There was a lot said there and I had to do it verbatim. I tried to shorten it.
I'm gonna read it right now.
There was too much gonna be missing, but just so you guys know already,
Wait, wait.
the town administrator, I gotta put his name in there correctly. I don't have it.
Ernie?
Yeah,
Berlin?
his last name is not.
Krevel, it's Krevel.
Is it-
Kreveline.
Yeah, okay, I'll get that.
Kreveline.
And I would welcome a motion to table the minutes.
I will make that motion to table the November 12th minutes.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, one other thing, November 21st, I almost got it done today. I should have it done by tomorrow.
okay, that was a motion for the,
Oh,
Maybe
that's
the
right,
12th.
sorry.
Well, in all honesty, I haven't seen the October 22nd
I
ones either.
haven't received those yet
No.
from Sherry. That
So
was
I
another-
actually will
Oh.
make a motion that we
And
table
we got a
all
motion and a
those.
second on the table.
With those
You
in,
want to rescind your motion, or
I-
rescind the second
yeah,
in the
we'll-
Yeah,
motion?
rescind the second and I'll
Okay.
I'll redo it.
So was said.
Okay, I will make a motion that we table all the minutes until such time as we get a chance to review them.
Okay.
Second it.
All those in favor of tabling the minutes until they all get sent out, which would be probably for our next regular meeting?
Just
Aye.
for discussion first,
Well-
because do you have November 4th in there?
Yes.
Okay, it don't belong in there, because we did not have a joint meeting. That was supposed to be a joint meeting with us.
Don't, thank you, we canceled it.
So we
That's right.
canceled it, so November 12th is the joint meeting that we
Okay,
had,
thank you.
okay? Just, I meant to tell
Okay.
you that earlier.
All right. Okay, and all in favor of tabling the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed, chair votes aye, it's unanimous. Miss Peg Heard.
I don't know what date it was, but if it was the 22nd. But Sherry actually sends me the minutes via email, so I can do them in Word. And then she posts my
Did
corrections.
she send them to you?
They might have come
Okay.
on.
I think she might, I mean, I know she
I'll-
did, and I
okay,
know I
I'll-
corrected
I'll
some.
look, usually right after she sends them, I post them up, and that should have been early enough that I would have, I've been.
Okay, well,
last week's been a
it
hard
was
week.
late, let's just put it that way, when
Okay.
she emailed them to
I'll
me, but,
go back through my email and see if you
Okay.
sent them to me. Because usually hers, I usually do that at work, but it's been busy at work, and
yeah.
I probably shouldn't say that in the
What?
camera. See if we're still recording. Okay, I'll go back, double check, see if
It's
you
all,
sent
they're
them.
all asleep anyway.
Yeah.
Which yeah.
Okay, any other business may come before the board?
I do, Tom.
Yes.
I did get the revenue and I've got the financials. I got the financials from fiscal year 16 through fiscal year 19. And I got the revenues from 17 through 19 from Nathan. I kind of combined them into a report. I will forward, I haven't done, they can't be edited in the same way we did with the school, with the town, because the lines change.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking things like Little Rams. I found Spark program in one, don't find it, So, but what I do have is I've got it so that it does summarize at the total levels. And I'd like to forward,
Okay.
I'll forward, do you want me to forward it out to everyone and just, on your behalf?
Yeah, do that.
It'd be a lot easier, and that way
Yeah,
everyone can at
and-
least see that and have a chance to
Yeah,
look
yeah,
at it before we
yeah.
get the budget.
Yeah,
So I'll do that tomorrow.
It's gonna be a long one.
Okay, so
Okay.
I just have a question. He did, because I thought he could only do 17, 18, and 19 for the expenses.
No, he gave me 16
16,
through.
but he only gave you 17, 18, and 19 for
On
revenue?
For revenue, correct.
All right, I
If he
will
could
check
get
and
16,
see.
it'd be good, but at least I've got, what I got for data is in there now. And again, I've got more questions probably on revenue, but that, when he comes in, we'll ask those.
Okay, but the revenue, because I answered all of your questions that I'm assuming were the same things, that
No.
there's,
No, we haven't talked other than I told him I was putting
okay.
this together.
on the revenue, I'll just go through some of his quick questions just for you.
Yep.
The revenue report, you will see, budget, and then I can't remember what the heading was, adjustments or something, and then revised budget.
Mhm.
There should be no revisions from the original budget on the expense report or the actual revenue report unless you get something that's unanticipated. Grants, absolutely.
Yep.
You will see, like, I'm going to say $40. I love Larry. $40. Oh, we got some more. So now in the adjusted
Mhm.
budget, it's going to be $60 because they gave us $20 more.
Yep.
When you are looking at the other question you had, when you're looking at how much the school district gives back
Mhm.
to the town, it's what's left over from the operating budget plus any additional revenue.
Yeah, but then they don't show on one report. That's,
No,
yeah,
they
they're on
don't.
the two.
They
That's-
don't.
I'm sure that
That's
was his
why there was
question.
the
because-
question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you see there's leftover money from grants, and then there's the other one.
Well,
That's-
don't even think about leftover money from grants, because if we do not spend it that year, unless it's like
You
a
don't get it.
2-year grant, then we just lose it. So that never, ever goes back to the town.
Okay, so that
Yeah,
would,
you-
that would be one of the reasons why I would have some serious questions is why we don't spend it, so.
Mr. Brown?
No.
You would have to have a particular non-lapsing clause or a special dispensation that it is a lump sum, and if you were clever, you may.
Yeah, it's all really on how the grant is written.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I understand, and I can see that, and I understand that with the adjustment, the amendments and things like that, as to why those were amended. It was just, and I guess, you've got expenses under the general fund that go over on the revenue. In other words, they spend more than they have for revenue. That's, I'm sure Dennis has asked, because I've got it in here. And I've only looked at the revenue report today, because that's when I got it.
Right.
So you've got expenditures that go over, and then you've got the grants that we don't spend all the money. So when you look at the two of them, if you could, and because I mean, I don't have all the answers for the grants, I'm just only looking at the
Okay, well,
numbers.
I'm just trying to explain to you.
Yeah,
Some grants are for 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
all right? So no, the first year we will not spend all of the money. We had a huge grant that I want to say might have even been 3 years.
Yep.
We cannot give that money if there's any money left over at the end of the year anywhere. It just goes away. It's like
No.
it did not exist.
What it does, it goes into a pool and it's shared
Right,
all over,
everywhere.
everywhere.
Right.
So if you don't spend it, it goes there and
Yep.
it's divvied up.
So I'm not sure what grants have absolutely. Grants should not
all we see is line,
be.
all we see, Peg, and that's why, I know you're not gonna have all the answers on this one, I'm just, all we see is line items. So, when I look under federal grants, this is from
Okay.
revenue, this
And
is
this is
from
revenue,
19.
then you know what you need to do? I'm sorry, I hate to do this to you, but because I could not stand the new one, you have to go back to the actual grant report. Because the grant report has the account numbers. And if you look at, I'm looking at this month's revenue. And the first one is DHHS revenue, and it's got the number.
Yep.
And then this is the whole breakdown of how we spend that grant.
Okay, and that's kind of where I was trying.
Okay,
that's
so
kind
you
of what I've been
have, you
after.
get the grant reports.
I do get the grant report, and those
Okay.
are individual reports, right. All I'm looking at is what Nathan sent was a final, okay?
Yep.
Without beating a dead horse. And the only reason I say that is we have an adopted budget. This is the total federal for 19, okay? Federal grants. We
Yep.
have an adopted budget of $1,405,315.61.
Okay,
We have amendments of $634,000 and change, okay, which brings a revised budget of $770,804.87 for the federal grants,
yep,
okay?
I'll buy
And
that.
then we only spent $571,000, which meant we didn't spend almost $200,000 in federal grants.
All right.
And so all I know is just number-wise, and I don't understand the reason
Okay,
why.
but I like the questions, because that could be that it was a 2 or 3 year grant.
Yep.
And so we spent this much this year. So I guess what I'm trying to say
Yep.
is please exclude the grants, okay? It's like we have money coming in that we can actually spend on our operating budget, all right?
Yep.
The grants are above and beyond, perhaps. So with the grants, we can hire Dennis, okay, as a special
not
something or
There's
other.
a special something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get a special something, all right?
And so the grant covers whatever this special something is that Dennis is going to do. So in the past, we've actually paid, like part of a special guidance counselor's salary out of a grant, because that portion of that person's position covers whatever that grant covers. So I guess what I'm trying to say is please just ignore the grants when you're looking at apples and apples, because that's apples and oranges. We get money coming in, we spend money.
Mr. Brown?
Very simple.
He's having a hard time down there. I can
Yeah.
feel him.
Who is? Oh.
Grants are not revenue. A grant is a payment to X because of Y.
I fully understand that, Larry. That's not what my question was.
Any money that's left vanishes. If X vanishes, Y and Z vanishes. It is, for the years I've been watching the school budget, grants are just not a revenue source. They are a restricted payment.
All right.
One thing about
Any-
that, just one point for
What?
is that
Is
you
there
have to
any
spend first
time that
and then get reimbursed.
Yeah.
So that's why sometimes money's coming
Yeah.
in late from the district, because they have to, you have to get reimbursed because you gotta spend first.
All right, anything?
in the budget to be spent?
Anything else on
Then that-
I know, but it's
other business?
It's already-
Excuse me, anything else on other business?
No,
Same business.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, for the, in the hopes of encouraging frugality for the school district budget, I am wearing my special school district budget sweater. I just hope you'll keep that in mind when you do your budget.
if
I
time
guess
is
we can
money,
figure that out somehow.
Okay.
frugality went out the window.
Okay, any other business may come before the board? We've got two members of the public here today. Mr. Nick has been very patient. Any comment from our public?
No, I had nothing better to do this week.
Yeah, we will not tell your wife you said that.
You're hired.
We're still
Hey,
recording.
we can hire you with a grant.
All
You can
right.
do something special.
Let's see. It looks like our next meeting will be like next Wednesday. Is that what it was?
Next
Yes.
Wednesday.
Okay, that's to make the pronouncement official. That'll be something like 12/4.
Oh, okay.
6 p.m. in this room. Hopefully we'll be recorded.
Yes.
That's the first Wednesday in December. That will be our, hopefully, first presentation of the school budget. Anything changes, I'll email everybody. But right now, let's plan on the 4th. Anybody else have anything? And on that note, I will take a motion.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And motion made by Humphrey, seconded by Larry Brown. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, abstaining? Chair votes aye, it's unanimous.
All right.
All right, so
adjourned.
answer your question now that we're off.
No, you're not off yet. You better go.
Hold on.
Lisa, did you want that spreadsheet?